Hello, and welcome to another episode of Music and Mixing. I'm DJ Michael Joseph. Welcome, whether it's your first time or your 100th time, it is still another time here in the studio. I'm glad you guys joined me tonight. I got, I think, a pretty cool topic tonight. Some people already in the chat. Reggie, what's going on? Says he's excited about tonight. I really feel tonight's show could go one direction or another, and we'll see how tonight goes. So, saying hello to everybody. For those of you who don't know who follow us, we take a little time to let people get in the chat, and so they can join in, and then we start the lesson. So if you're watching this, later on demand, just fast forward a little bit. We'll get to the show here in just a couple seconds, but we're just kind of letting people come in the chat, stuff like that. Chit-chat, talk about some things for a couple seconds, and we'll get into the show. And then for those of you who don't know, later on the night, we let the live chat room ask some questions. So the questions will begin tonight where people will watch it live. So if you're watching this on demand later, which we get a lot, and we had past couple shows that had some good numbers, lots of people watching, so I'm thanking on that. That's what we're going to do. So I want to say hello to Todd. What's going on, Todd? One of my students. Reggie's in there. Who else is in there? Someone is in Disc Jockey News. I'm guessing that's probably John, because I haven't typed yet. I think John's working on computers in his studio tonight, getting stuff up and running. Those of you who are Serato fans, they released the public beta of Serato that lets you DJ from SoundCloud. So you can have your choice. I like how they say it. So actually, the way they say it there, it's SoundCloud and Tidal, but it's not SoundCloud and Tidal, it's SoundCloud or Tidal, because you literally can only choose one or the other and have one or the other active. That's it. Thought it was kind of interesting there. Reggie said, "You're only booking my favorite kind of shows." I have nothing against karaoke. I'm really thinking about doing it. My friend DJ Pat here in the city and I have been thinking about it for a while, putting all our music together and taking different nights, because we do a lot of tag team nights places where I'll DJ a place one night, he DJ a place following weekend, that sort of thing. Polka karaoke I've never seen. Please video that and let me see that. I would love to see what polka karaoke looks like. It had to be fun. Mike Gage is in the chat room. What's going on? Lots of good stuff. But yeah, the Serato stuff was kind of neat. Go check it out. It's free. You can test it out for a while. I think it's 30 days. You can test it and see what it's like if you want to see what the Serato thing is like. What else has happened this week that I thought was kind of cool? It was Veterans Day on Monday, so a big thank you and salute to all the veterans who watched the show. And go check out my other video. I have several shows here on Disc Jockey News. The other one is a weekly pre-recorded show about 3 minutes or less called The Rewind Report. And I mainly cover equipment and stuff like that, like short reviews of equipment or just announcements about equipment. But this week I came across a DJ network called the Military DJ Network. And it is a network put together by this guy to where DJs who are either veterans, formerly served, or currently serving, can put up their mixes and show their mixes from different places, DJing, whether they're stationed overseas or whatever. And the whole thing is kind of built around building a community of DJs that are in the military. So if you want to go check that other video out, it's on Disc Jockey News. Just search down through there. But it's about the Military DJ Network. Go check it out. I thought it was really cool. Fred, what's going on? Fred is joining us in the... I'm not going to say your last name. I am so horrible at pronouncing names. DJ Southpaw, hello. I think you messaged me earlier this week. Somebody I think did. We got lots of reactions on last week's show. I really like that. It's awesome. I try to respond best I can, but it's not easy sometimes. Life's crazy, isn't it? See, this is the thing that ticks me off now that I'm older, that no one told me when I was a teenager that life was going to get like stupid crazy, like ununderstandably crazy. I just do not understand why an adult didn't tell me, hey, look out, life's coming at you. So if you're younger, I'm telling you, life's coming at you. And when it happens, do your best. Some days you're going to stand up, some days you're going to fall down, but just don't quit. That's the key. All right, so we have Chris also in the chat room. What's going on, Chris? We're about 6 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and start the lesson tonight. For those of you who did read the title on there, it's No Playlists Allowed, and it is kind of like deceiving. The little tagline below that is how to DJ to the crowd. And when John first threw up the video, he put up there how to read the crowd. And this isn't about reading the crowd, even though I'm going to cover reading the crowd. It's about DJing to the crowd, which I think are two totally different things there. Ben, what's going on? I'm still trying to say hello to people as they're coming in the chat. Like the new mic. Thank you. It actually is the same mic, but on a headpiece, which I think I'm going to do that. I'm using the in-ear monitors now, and this actually feels really comfortable to me. So I think I'm going to probably use this for future shows and maybe end up doing a review. But it is the same mic I had before, just I have it on the head mount piece that goes, you know, around my neck and over and that. So we're going to keep doing that. DJ Southpaw with some knowledge there again. That's right. What was that one song in the 90s? Some days I sit and think, wish I was or something like that. Some days I think when I was a kid, I sit and wish I was a kid again. It was a 90s song. Those of you who know that. Oh, don't ask me the brand of the in-ears. I just forgot. As soon as you ask me that, I forget the brand. Go back to my Facebook page. I posted a picture of them probably 4 weeks ago. So just go to the Facebook page and just scroll down. There's a picture of them there, me talking about them. They're real cheap. They're not expensive. I'm debating on whether to go to expensive ones. I used to have Shores a long time ago. These are still dual drivers, so I like them. Hello, Robin. All right, so back to the show. The no playlist thing, I just want to clarify some stuff first before we start this so that people know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a playlist. The whole show, we always talk about this show being about the mixed DJ, okay? So keep in mind, it is, if you're not a DJ who mixes or wants to mix, this probably isn't going to pertain to you. You might get some stuff out of it, but it's mainly towards that. There is going to be some little nuggets and little pieces of information here and there you can get from it, but a lot of stuff we're going to talk tonight, and I'm also going to show some examples and let you guys give me back some ideas to try here tonight. It's about mixing, and I just want to talk a little bit about that. When I talk about the mixed DJ, I want to say that it's more than just like a club DJ. It can be someone who DJs at bars that have dancing, house parties, festivals, anything like that. Here's the thing, that a lot of the bars and stuff that I DJ at, you really won't find anybody over 30, okay? But that doesn't mean the ones that are over 30 parties you can't, doesn't mean you cannot mix. To that under 30 crowd, mixing matters whether you think it does or not. And when I say mixing, as I'm talking about later on tonight, I'm not talking about beat matching two songs together, because that's only part of mixing. Beat matching is one thing, mixing is another. And this is the most important part, and I don't want to offend anybody and have them leave. So please do not be offended by this and leave. But if you've said, because I have people that all the time say, well, I've tried mixing in my area, it doesn't work. I would literally bet my entire career, literally all of it, my career, my equipment, everything to you, that if you've tried mixing and it didn't work, it's not the mixing that they didn't like. It was your mixing that they didn't like. Because I've DJ'd for 31 years now. I've spun at every type of crowd, from tiny little parties, private parties, public parties, store openings, car cruises, big public festivals in front of 10,000 people, clubs that hold 3,000 to 5,000 people, birthday parties, quinceañeras, everything in between. And 100% of the time on all of those events, I mix all of them. And no one has ever complained. No one has ever anything. They really like it. They go, wow, you're actually doing that. And that's what a little bit of tonight's show came about, where I've had two people in the past 2 months walk up and watch me, and they go, wait, you're doing that live? And I'm like, yeah, what do you expect? And they're like, well, we thought you were playing off a playlist. And I'm like, no, not in a million years is this a playlist. This is me live. But I'm going to take it even further tonight, that we're going to look beyond just playlists. We're going to look into the in-depth thing of picking songs as you go. Some of the stuff tonight is going to be crazy complicated. Some of it is going to be so simple, you're going to be like, well, duh. Some of it you'll get right away. Other stuff you probably won't get. So some stuff tonight you'll agree with, some stuff you'll disagree with. But I hope you kind of go along with me when it comes to all that. So with the pre-information said, I want to get into basically what we're talking about, the two different types of playlist. Just so that you know tonight, I'm talking about a certain type. There is the playlist that people have on a machine where the machine, whether it be a Spotify, playing it through virtual, playing it through, because Serato does the load the next song. It doesn't auto mix, but it does do the next song. Megaseg or any stuff like that. Those of you who know our Megaseg joke, feel free to take a drink. That would be 2 drinks actually. But we're not talking about the automated playlist, because I'm going to tell you right off the bat, in my opinion, that's a no. So when I say no playlist, that's the first no. No automated playlist. Especially, like I said, we're going towards the mix DJ. Mix. Okay, the second one, we're talking about the DJ, which there's nothing wrong with this, but I want to talk about tonight the other part of it. The part about the DJ who does mix, but goes down a list of songs one by one, and does that same order at different places. Now, we're not talking about someone who does a festival like Martin Garrix or something where you are going to this festival and doing this set and going to the next festival and doing the exact same set, because it's a little bit different. You have to think of that like a performer doing a stage show coming in your town. Bruno Mars, chances are he's going to do the same songs in the same order all the way through the tour, and that's kind of what that is. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about one who does the bars and the clubs and different things, and they have a folder, and they'll do that entire folder, and then they'll open up another folder and do the entire folder in the same order every time. And I'm talking about, that's where I'm saying no playlist tonight. I'm not saying don't ever do that. I like to never do that. That's just me. But I'm saying tonight is about that, not using those playlists and playing off the crowd and playing to the crowd, not necessarily reading the crowd, because we're talking about reading the crowd, but it's about kind of taking those songs live one by one and creating and letting your creativity create on the fly constantly. That's the difference of the two. I'm talking about, I'm saying no to both, but the kind of gist of tonight is mixing in the moment, which maybe I should have titled the show that, I don't know. But mixing in the moment is what we're doing. I'm not seeing the chat right now, so if anybody's throwing anything in there, hold on. We're going to come to the chat in a minute. You can ask questions, and I'll answer them. And we're going to cover some stuff where I do absolutely 100% need your feedback tonight on to kind of help with this. So mixing for the moment. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, which I think is utterly important, and I don't know if I can teach you this, but I'm going to do my best. This is where I said things can get complicated or simple, but I don't know if I can teach this, but I'm going to do my best, okay? The first one is about reading the crowd, okay? Now, reading the crowd can mean 100 or 1,000 different things to 1,000 different DJs. For me, it's not just looking at the people on the dance floor. It's looking at the people sitting down. It's looking at a group of pretty girls in the corner, because the chances are if they get up and dance, then you're going to have guys come up and dance too. So it's about reading the whole crowd and getting everybody involved and engaged as much as you can. So as you're playing stuff, one of the key things is not just to play a song and then get ready to, in your mindset, just drop in. You need to look around a bit and see what's going on. See what's going on in the room around you. Because like this, you could say I have $100 in my pocket, but what if there's another 1,000 sitting around you and you're not looking up? And think of it that way. Like, yeah, I have the dance floor. I have people dancing, but who could I get that's not dancing? Because that's kind of the way I look at it, going, until I have everybody in that place going berserk and just crazy, and the bartender going, would you please stop, and have them come to the bar finally. Until I'm doing that, I'm not doing good. So it's the flow of that, as you as the DJ, reading that, getting them in, and then releasing them to go take a drink, and then bringing them back. It's the whole night of stuff like that. Festival's a little different. You're just playing to the crowd. But you can still be creative. I know a lot of DJs who do the festival tour and just let it go night by night and just kind of get really creative as they see the crowd react to certain stuff, and I kind of love that. There are things within reading the crowd that I think are important that a lot of people don't talk about. Like I said, people who aren't dancing are just people you haven't gotten to dance yet. Think of it that way. Don't think of them as they're not participating. Think of them as people you just haven't got out on the floor yet. And if you take that mentality, you're going to be a little bit hungry. You're going to look at, how can I get them out there? How can I keep them out there? One of the things that's really odd that I noticed, I always look at, but something that happened at something I did recently that can maybe help you read the room a little bit better, and something I've learned from doing so freaking many years of this, did this little Halloween party, and the lady who was promoting it promotes some very, very big events in this city, like, I'm telling you, like seriously red carpet type events. And she comes over and she goes, hey, we've got to get them dancing. And I'm like, hold on, they're just arriving. You know, you really have to let them get time. And this is kind of how I saw it with this room. It's not the same for every room, but it was for this room of people. Not just the room. I'm not talking about the room itself, but the people in the room. It was a Halloween party, so they were dressed up. Part of them were corporate people who all work together. So you're going to have a certain mindset with them where they're not going to try to act out of place. They're trying to play the part of the business person until someone else kind of gets up and go, okay, it's okay to be seen dancing. It's okay to be seen being silly. Even though they're in costumes, they still have to get past that. So I knew in that room there was food off to the side. And they come in, and believe it or not, directly right when they come in the door was the bar, which I thought was genius that they did that. But they come in, and the bar was right there. And I told the lady, I said, wait till they get their drinks, have their drinks, go eat food, and then come back and get their second drink, and that's when they're going to start dancing and get into it. And that was exactly what they did. And at the end, she's like, oh my gosh, you know exactly what you're doing. It was exactly what you said. And to me, I kind of see that, especially with these people weren't the 21-year-olds. These were, you know, a little bit older, late 20s, early 30s, and they're a little bit more serious. So they kind of had to get that alcohol in them. So certain places, reading the crowd is also reading how much alcohol they've had. And some go the opposite way where they have too much. But that's a good thing to me about reading the crowd, to where I knew this crowd and where they were from and who they were and that sort of thing. And I knew that there was going to have to be a buffer system in between them and dancing before they started. And that's all there was to it. Not all places are like that. Some places you have to worry about that. That was kind of like my best way to explain about reading the crowd. And each crowd is going to be different, and each hour of the night's going to be different, and each place you DJ. Let's say you DJ the same place every single week. Well, every week it's going to be different. Different people, for the most part. Different people, different things, and you kind of have to play into that. And the more creative you are, the more people are going to keep coming back. And if they keep coming back and saying, I like this DJ, you're going to keep getting hired and keep getting paid and getting more jobs. And that's kind of like the thought behind reading the crowd. The next part is going to be kind of weird. Not weird, but maybe, again, difficult for me to explain, but I'm going to do examples tonight. And I want you guys to think of songs that, don't write them in the chat room yet, but think of songs that you go, I don't know what goes well with this, or I play this a lot, what do you suggest to go with this? And I'm going to pull them up, my versions, my edits, and talk about what I would pick after them, or before them, or why I pick them when it comes to reading a crowd. And we're going to use our imagination and think about, if we have different types of crowd in front of us, I'm going to show you how I would do that with a different crowd in front of me, a bar crowd, a club crowd, a festival crowd, stuff like that, and we're kind of work through that way. But on top of reading the crowd, you have to read the songs. So not all songs work perfectly with each other for several reasons. That's why I tell earlier about, mixing, beat matching is not mixing. Because just because a song has the same BPM does not mean it works well together. That is just one part. It is just one part amongst many, and that's why I don't get upset when people talk about the sync button, because to me, that is just one part. So what? You can match the beats. Who freaking cares? Any machine can do that. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make you a mixer. It doesn't make you good at all. But read the songs, because certain songs have a cadence to their beat. Even though their beat might be exactly the same, their cadence is going to be definitely off. One might have a really kind of peppy kind of here we go, and the other might be a little bit more somber, even though it's the same beat sort of thing. So the cadence of it is one thing. The tempo is important. We talked about that. Genres are somewhat important, but you can crisscross genres. But sometimes if you stay in a genre a couple songs and out, stuff like that, kind of give them a little bit of taste of things. Like you're serving your courses of your meal. Serve them in bits. You're not going to slap your salad and your steak on the plate at the same time, like that. But that's kind of example I'm trying to explain there. And the other last one is the key, what key the song is in, because you can pick songs that aren't in the right key. And to most people, I'm being honest, most people would not know. They would not know. But if you get it in the proper keys, where the keys match and don't clash, that's kind of the way you can think of it, keys that match and don't clash, for those of you maybe not musical and don't know about piano keys and harmonies and stuff like that. And that can kind of mess with people subconsciously, because a lot of what we do, they may not be able to explain to you what you're doing, but subconsciously they know. Just like somebody was showing me a mix of theirs where they go, look, slam mixes work. And they showed me this thing of the slam mix. And I literally saw the people go, and start back dancing again. And to the other person, they're like, well, that was great. And I'm like, you missed them. You completely missed them. They stopped. So the people who were on the fringe that were maybe ready to go or were thinking about getting off the dance floor did at that point, because you literally made the whole dance floor stop and then start again. And it was like, holy crap. So the idea is to keep that going. They may not know mixing. They may not know beat matching, but they can feel it. Their body and the rhythm understands that. And that's kind of the importance of all this, what we're doing. So that's it. Reading the crowd, reading the music, and we're going to show how to read the music. And like, again, I kind of want you guys to kind of come up with some songs that you might want that you think that you have questions about. And we're going to go through them, and we're going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about why I pick the songs I pick and different things like that. Stuff you can do to be creative. I want to talk about different mixing styles, because I think that's one of the most important things we're going to talk about in just a minute on this. But for now, we are going to go to a sponsor break. We'll be right back.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and DJNTV Insiders.
All right, we definitely want to thank our sponsors for being a part of this show. If it wasn't for them, we'd be kind of just sitting here. In the show notes below is links to all our sponsors. Go visit them, please. Tell them that you saw them here on Music and Mixing. Tell them you'd like to see them on Music and Mixing. I'd love an individual sponsor for this show. That'd be awesome. Also below, you will see where you're able to buy Disc Jockey News apparel, shirts and sweatshirts and hats and all kinds of stuff. Please take time to order that. Christmas is coming up. You never know, the DJ in your life might love that. Or for crying out loud, buy it for yourself. So you definitely want to thank all of them for that. Okay, now this is the gist of it before I go into asking you guys questions. The art or the science of it is what I'm looking at on this, okay? Some might call it a science, some might call it an art. It's the right side of the brain, left side of the brain, and how well they work together, okay? In the way I do things, I usually have 2 or 3 songs ready at a time. So that means I have a song on the left deck playing. We'll just say left. Doesn't have to be left or right, but you know what I mean. Song on one deck playing. Song on the other deck queued up, ready to go, and a third song I'm going to drop to afterwards. All the time in my head, I always know 3 songs ahead. So if you come up and request something, and it's something that I do want to play, I'm going to have to switch gears from those 3. So you kind of have to think with what you're playing, will they react? So if you're playing a song and they're not reacting, you might want to switch up the style or whatever to the next song. If they are reacting, you might want to keep going. If they're playing something and let's say somebody does request, and again, certain places you're going to work where you are going to take requests, other ones you absolutely will never take a request. So let's just say somebody does, or we'll put that in the same ballpark as you coming up with an idea. Hey, what if I play this? The same thing. I think this would work, or someone says something, you go, yeah, that would work. You then are going to have to switch gears from those 3 and build another 3. So being quick on your feet is really important with this. And that's why I tell people about having all the cue points on you. For those of you who watched the show before, I talk about all the cue points and all that stuff like that, because when you're in the midst of doing that, you don't have time to sit there and go, well, I'll preview this song to see if it works, or I'll set a cue point here, because you're reading that crowd, you're working that crowd, you're constantly shuffle, 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 move in, shuffle. Oh, cut the song early, it's going too bad. Or here's a great plot to get out of the song. Or, oh man, if I just had this in here, I'll throw it into loop and bring this over and bring the new one in, and all kinds of stuff like that, because that's mixing, where you're reading the flow of that, and that's mixing. You have to either be willing to do one or the other, and this is where I think the toughest thing is with this, is you have to be willing to commit to the songs you pick, or be willing to abandon them and go a different direction. And that's where it's tough sometimes, where I'm telling you, I've stood there and go, what do I do? What do I do? Should I go to the next one, or should I just cut it and get out of here and go to this? Should I do this? To where like maybe half the room's getting into it, half the room's not. It's kind of like that. So you have to be willing to commit to one or the other. Otherwise, you're going to be paralyzed. And that's just a very strange point to be in with all of this. And the final thing is look at each song the same way you look at the people and know that song. Just like you're reading a crowd and trying to know the song, you also have to know your music. And I talk so much about how the importance of knowing your music and knowing where the breakdowns are and where the bridges are and where the intros and where the first word is and where the last word is and stuff like that. So you kind of have to know that, okay? So with that all said, I want to come into the chat room now. I want to answer some questions, and I want you guys to give me some songs, and I'm going to take those songs, and I'm going to show you my thoughts by what I would choose to go a different direction, the next song to play, etc., so on and so forth. But I'm also going to do it as in, let's imagine we're doing this at a bar. And then the next thing we're going to go, let's imagine we're doing this at a birthday party. And then the next thing, well, let's imagine we're doing this at the height of the hour at a wedding. And then the next one, let's imagine we're in a banging club. And we're going to see where different directions we can go depending on where we're at and depending on what the crowd in front of us is. So let's take a look at the chat. I don't know if I've said hello to everyone. Just so you know, there is no country music talk allowed in my chat. No, can't stand country music, for those of you who don't know. No country music. Let's go on to something else. See what questions here. All right, Reggie talks about Double Dutch Bus. That is a very old song that not a lot of people know. We'll switch up screens here. Do you want to go with this? We'll go with this, I think. Yeah, we'll go with this for now. All right, so Double Dutch Bus is a really old song from 1980, and it was kind of the early forms of hip-hop and stuff like that, I think you would call it. The video is weird. If you have a chance, go to YouTube and look up the thing. It's Frankie Smith, and this is the song. I'm going to jump into it. All right, so that's it. It is 119 BPM, so that's kind of peppy, and you have to think there are certain artists that fit into that BPM range, which are people like Bruno Mars, Michael Jackson, stuff like that, fits into that kind of range. So it's kind of peppy. Exactly, Reggie. It's the old. When I think of that song, I do think of the old roller skating. You know, when people my age were kids. Just like last week's show, I had a problem where that monitor dropped out and picked back up again, and we just had it. So give me a second to get my monitor back up over here. I think I've got a loose wire because it's jumping in and out. Give it a second. There we go. Now we got the monitor back. I don't know how much you're seeing of double screens there, but all right. So more notes. Gosh, I have everything in itself running here. So I've got 101 things here. There we go. Okay, so we're back to here. So I would pick on this. This is the split point on this. Do you want to stay older, like this is? Do you want to advance forward slightly into the 90s, early 2000s, or do you just want to jump brand new? So as I'm looking at this, I'm going to do a search, and I think I have to switch screens so you guys can see my search. No, you can see it there. So I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to start with the BPM range, and I'm going to go 115 to 122, okay? And it's going to bring up all the different songs I have within that, and because of the way virtual works, I'm going to sort by how much I play them, and I don't have a left screen capture anymore. It did this the other night to me. Okay, so we're going left screen. I have nothing left screen tonight at all. So it did this before when it dropped out on me. I'm not really sure what the deal is, but it definitely is not letting me see the other screen. So you get this. So the songs that we have are different ones that I'm looking at in my kind of by sorting it by play count. Ones I play the most are things like I have some Billie Jean in there, Brass Monkey, Cheerleader. Call Me Maybe. I have a remix of Ice Ice Baby. I have a remix of Michael Jackson's Don't Stop. You could go newer with Honey, I'm Good. Nah, Nah, Honey. You know that song. Andy Grammer. Call Me Maybe is in with that range. Daft Punk's in with that range. So it kind of depends on what you want. I forgot a lot of Lady Gaga stuff is in that kind of range too. So there's a lot of stuff you can choose with that. So what I would do is if I was going to, let's say I'm at a bar So first off, depending on if it was a younger bar, I would never, ever, ever play this at a younger bar. A good example, my Thursday night one's a college bar. So everybody there's definitely under 30, and the management and owners hired me because they don't want songs any older than 2000 played. They said we want the bulk of the songs from 2008 to 2018, because you have to realize that if someone's 25, 10 years ago they were 15. So someone who walks in there is 21 or 22, they weren't even a teenager 10 years ago. So you have to think of music that way, the people standing in front of you. So if I played that and just kind of saw how it would go there, it's a long freaking song. It's 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So I would probably get out of it really quick. I probably would not let it go very long. We have some breakdowns here. Probably right in here. I have not played this song that many times. Right there is a good spot to put. I would have put a marking in there because we can actually loop this right here. All of this. All right, so we're back into the words right there. So I have all of that time that I'm able to do something fancy with it if I want to. So if I'm going to pick a song to get out of that, I may pick, I could pull Call Me Maybe, which is a newer one that kind of has, I could probably start that loop there. Let's take this way back. I'd probably bring it up right here. Switch the bass over. You still have kind of the beat, but you came across in 8 beats. You got out of it where there's an instrumental, because there's such a difference in time between a song from 1980 and a song from 2012. You kind of, I like to, in my mind, like to bridge the gap and not slam it in straight, so you go straight from the last word of the one song into the first word of the next. I give them a bridge to go across, and then I blend, as you saw that I took the highs and lows, as you can see on the screen right there. I brought one down, brought the other up, and that's blending, it's part of blending, and I did the bridge across that way to show blending, so that I'm able to not just, like I said, if it's a crowd that kind of is that, songs are so different, I can't just jump across. I can, but if you want to really pull the crowd and let them come along with you, you want to pull them across that way. So that's that one. So let's see what else we can do with here. Again, if you do with an older or newer crowd, again, if you're at a wedding, you probably could have went that way. I also could have went with... this is a remix that I kind of remixed myself, which is a remix of Michael Jackson's Breathe, Don't Stop. This is kind of one that may not work with a wedding crowd because it's not a familiar song, but if you have another crowd that kind of is adventuresome, you can get them with this. And I did a remix of their remix, so it pops in right here. And they rhyme through this whole thing, but they also come back to his chorus. So also in with this, in this bridge part right here, I could have dropped and went across that way. I can't cue, so I'm throwing this up right here. So right here it'd be like... and go across, and that was an echo out. So there's a couple different ways you can go with that. I would not do that necessarily with a wedding or a crowd because the next song isn't so well known. That would be my reason not to go that direction, because it's not so well known. But going with a Call Me Maybe, definitely you could. You could put Bruno Mars in there. You could put, I'm trying to think who else is in there that we could put in there. Coolio, Madonna, Tio Cruz, Whitney Houston, Digital Underground, Vanilla Ice, Pussycat Dolls. There's some Pitbull stuff you can throw in there. Actually, the two that would work together would be, like I probably would do this because I think they're quite similar, is Pitbull and Little John's Coolio. It's... and they're kind of together, so... I can pull that off of there. So we're here. Took the echo off. Go back a piece.
Let's go. Right around here. We need all the ladies to hit the dance floor. If you got a big old booty.
Doing a beat jump to jump back on the top song. That would be kind of a push hard of a club mix, but I probably would actually do that if I did that. Let's go back here again as that song leads out. Right there, I would have jumped in on. So I might have came back here somewhere. Probably blended that a little bit better, but I'm just kind of showing there how to jump in and out. But you could totally go to something new like that. All right, let's see what else we have in the chat here. The Cleveland Shuffle, day and night in Cleveland or areas around Cleveland. I'm sure you would play that. I have it. I'm pretty sure I have it. I don't play it because we're Pittsburgh and we would never play anything from Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I do not have it. I thought I did maybe there. Let me see what else we have here. Apache also. But here's the thing with Apache. Let's take that again there. Let's go back to Double Dutch Bus. And other artists have used that. So we could go to Missy Elliott. We Run It, which is kind of a little bit close to that too. Oops. Let me switch up the game. On the floor, walk off. So it's close to that in a way also, but the only thing is they're so far apart BPM, I'm going to have to really kind of split the difference there. And if I come back in here and... Yeah, I want to go from there. And I would bring it in when we get to this one point, when we get to that, the cue point that we had marked is the out. Now that's a big jump in difference there, but that's a good way to kind of go across that. So good job pointing out about the Apache. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, you're from Central PA. Yeah, like I said, it's there. I've had people ask for it before. I've seen people. What song did they do that to? They did the Cleveland Shuffle to a Michael Jackson song, and I can't remember which Michael Jackson song it was. But they asked for it at a place I was at. They were in visiting, probably for a game or something like that, and that's what that was all about. So it is. There's a line dance to it and everything. So let's see what else songs we have in the chat that you guys might have. For those, I was wondering if Southpaw, you mentioned Daft Punk with Ice Ice Baby. Is that what you mentioned? Or would you go Daft Punk with the Double Dutch Bus? Or both? The reason I asked that is because I have Vanilla Ice and the one you just said. Daft Punk. It's called Funk Funk Baby. And it's Daft Punk in the background. But they have this cool breakdown in the middle. Jump ahead. Where they go back to the original song of Queen. Which this I could start playing because the movie's out again. And then after this it goes back into the song. So those are all great things to mention in there. Right at 116, so we're right in with that kind of little bit of range in there. Yeah, Daft Punk with Double Dutch Bus. Yeah, so that would work in there too. Because that's basically Daft Punk's song right there. I can type in the right thing here. Around the World. Oh, I love this one. This one would go well too. So if we're jumping, put that in loop. I would split the difference. We're way under on that. Backspin out, jump point up to the next one. But those two also would go together very, very well. That would get all the hotties dancing. Yay. Yeah, Don't Ya is another one. I actually thought about bringing that one up. I can... This is the promo only quick edit, so this actually would work very well in it because it's got a nice looping point there. I'm gonna drop the bass on the other one. Oops, I cut it out too soon. Sorry. Should have brought that in right there. And Busta. But that's a way to go with that. So that's a good call on that one too. You guys have a good mindset. You're already seeing that. You're seeing the songs as we're developing stuff, and you can imagine if a crowd that to where an older crowd probably wouldn't know Don't Ya. If it was out hit, they would know Don't Ya at that point. But chances are they don't know it now. You might lose a little bit of a crowd depending on what it is. So great job there, guys. You could do Cha-Cha Slide. What was I doing the other day on Cha-Cha Slide from? It was something else. What was I going to it for? All right, so that's 122. And I'm going to take a jump up. We're going to do this. We're going to do 122 to 127 space 2008 to 2018. So we're only picking songs that... are from those years. So I'm going to show that we're going to go. Be looking so we can come into that from a lot of different things. We can do EDM from No Speak Americana. We can do Fireball, Don't Stop the Party, again Pitbull, Whitney Houston. I have a remix of that. That could work with more Daft Punk. This Girl, it's going to be kind of an odd one to come out of this. But you could. We're still in the same BPM there. And this is one, again, that if you're going into a line dance, I give it lots of room. So I give it lots of room from going from whatever song you're playing into the next one to where I might even just, instead of doing that, I might put that on a loop and talk to the crowd. So... And I would be talking to the crowd going, all right, we're going to do this, and I'm going to keep this on loop till y'all get out on the dance floor. And I'm just keeping an eye on the other song and watching it kind of dwindle down. All right, here we go. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, clap, and I mixed and talked them across. And if you can do both of those, you really are going to be able to control that crowd a lot. And I think that's one of the important things about both mixing and, for those of you who are good MCs, if you can add that to it like I was doing there, mixing and talking to the crowd, you have them at the palm of your hand, and you literally could let that loop keep going and keep going and keep going until you got them out there. Then you released it, and then you come out from behind the DJ table if you're at a wedding and go talk to them. Or if at a bar, I'll get them going. I'll say something. I'm like, oh, come on now. All right, get your girl up here. You know, that sort of thing, blah, blah, blah. You know all the things. But that's some different things there you can do with that too. So feel free to shout out some more stuff in the chat room, different songs, different ideas you'd like to see. Ignition, that's a good one because I do Ignition in reverse. Ignition's one I drop to from a faster one, and I did this before, where I'll drop from a faster one into Ignition by doing a trick. So I'm going to use that as that. So we're going 122 to 66, which is almost a double. You could almost do a beat match if you wanted to. So if I were to tweak that a little, I actually could beat match that if I wanted. See, that's a perfect example right there of two songs that you can make match, but they're wrong. You would never do those two together. You could, but you have to realize even if you release that right as the song ends right here, it just feels a little weird. So what I would do on something like that is I would do a trick where I would do over here on the Denon, and a lot of other ones have a break speed. So as the song's playing, I can, instead of doing press play, it stops, or I can turn it up a little bit and go. This is a slow wind down, like the old days with the record player. Those of you old know about hitting the power button. It goes off like that. So I'll do tricks like that sometimes, where I'll do that, get my song ready here, and then I'll go. Let's say we're dropping into it from right here.
Now, usually I don't do this, but
and just do a little scratch, stop in, and it kind of, that whole changes the mood. And again, they don't know what you're doing, but psychologically, you're changing the actual feel of the dance floor by bringing it down. Then,
now usually I don't
do stuff like that. So, that's some ideas. What else we have here? Fireball. Fireball is a weird one because I'll jump in and out of Fireball all the time with some weird stuff. Because there's different points in there. So you can come in on that. So if we were coming out of the other one, where I would do on that one, and these two ones work together. They're not bad key-wise. The cadence is a little weird. I'm doing a beat jump right there. So I would keep that beat jumping. Stop it. So those are some options there to do with that. You can drop in at that point. That's why I have a bunch of different cue points, because we have the loop with his words, loop without the words, that drop point. The part you can jump on that. So you could even come back to here, want to do something at the end there. Which that is not a good slam, but that's a slam mix. So those are options there. We still have some more time, so feel free to throw some stuff in the chat. Exactly, day and night. That's where I talk about, and that was a tough thing that I said that some people might get and might not. If you have a cadence of a song that is high energy and you do a break drop to something that isn't high energy, you have a chance to lose them. So you have to pick something that's really close to that. This is a song that very people know because it was a hit. Gosh, I couldn't even tell you how many years ago it was a hit. I can look it up here. I can type 2012, and it would be one that would go with this because they kind of have that same little horn. I'm gonna put that in loop. I'm letting him ride there a minute. And I kind of let them ride the whole way along there. But those kind of ones that kind of go together with the same sort of cadence that he was talking about there. Noodle Strap Mix. Where was I at the other night and somebody played Chicken Noodle Soup? And I'm like, I ain't heard that song in forever. Freaky Friday. I have a quick clean hit and an edit hit, and that's just 100 BPM. See, and I have 2 marks there. One, that's my looping point. And then... And that's a little downbeat, so I'd probably split that on that. I'd probably go 97 to 104, which I tend to like to jump above. So if it's at 100, I'll give a few more. When I do my search, give a few more above and below. Despacito could go in there. Sexual Healing is still on that same slower BPM on both the in and the out. See how they kind of feel together there? And you could go the opposite way out. I'm going to go from 2 on this. Pull the bass out. Make it echo. That was really off because it was way off, actually, because look how much longer we have. See, that's what I'm telling you about a bad mix. Perfect example of a bad mix. I just showed you there by example that even though it was on beat, it was beat matched, there was too much space between the end of the song and the start of the next one. That was a bad mix. And I love the fact that I was able to do that and show you guys completely how you can goof up a mix, and nobody would know but you. But if you did it right and nailed the timing of that, the energy would have been much stronger as opposed to that. So that's what I talk about matching them and making them do that. I have never used, even though Ben talked about the compatible folder in Virtual, lets you look at songs that are compatible with that. It kind of does a search, and it kind of uses an algorithm off of what other people have mixed. Songs that will go well with the song you're playing, and that comes from thousands of DJs who, with Virtual, upload their stuff, and also Serato does it too. It uploads, and you're able to see songs that other people have played for that and with that. And that kind of gives you the idea. I don't like to do that. I kind of like to use my own imagination. And also, depending on whether it's earlier in the night or later in the night, sometimes I'll go, because like I said, I sort by play count fast, most played, least played. If it's early in the night, I'm not going to play the hits. So I'm going to scroll way down that list and get the songs that I haven't played in a long time or played very little, like in that BPM range. I can go down to the beginning of the night. And these still would be songs that are hits that, let me see here. Where the Party At? That's one that's in that same BPM range, that, but it hasn't been played in a while.
Come on, come on.
And you could take it from that one. The echo's on there. I did not BPM match this, so I'm doing this by hand. I was doing that by hand. I didn't sync the BPMs. I was just doing that by hand. So that's there. I do want to address something that Jimmy brought up, the 70 to 140 BPM sort of thing. So if I pull a song that's 70, we're actually going to go 68 to 72, and we're going to pick, is Nene going to work on that one? Maybe. You see, I forget Nene's.
Now watch me. You already know it is.
That could work on something, and then we're going to pick something that's going to go 137 to 143. And this wouldn't work well. This is a good example of beat matching that would not work well together. Whoops. They're double, but I would not put those together. I was missing that point totally on that. The ending, is this the one? This would be one that I think could work with that. The radio edit can't hold us because there's a break point here.
This is the moment, tonight is the night.
All right, so it kind of, the radio edit, and this reason why I like this edit is because you're able to mix out of it. It drops down in its cadence. Doesn't change the BPM, but it drops down in its cadence. Most people will probably have that at 140. I marked it at 73 because I knew that's the range where I would play it, and that would be the songs I would mix with. See how the cadence cut in half there? And echoed out. So that's a good example of how you kind of read the songs there. That I hope that kind of makes sense. Again, I think a lot of stuff here is opinion and what you think and how you read the crowd. So what I'm saying here is don't take these and use them exclusively. Create with your own self. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with all of this, is to show you about reading the crowd, that each crowd is going to be different, each night is going to be different, everything's going to be different. And that's kind of what I want you guys to look at there. We have like 2 minutes left at most here. With virtual, again, I'll go back here real quick. I don't think because I can't share the whole screen. You can actually set it to where you can pull up a song and have it choose whether it's going to be half or double BPM, because it'll let you, like, so on that song that was 73, I actually could go in and just hit the button that says double, and it could be the 146. It literally lets you do that right on the bat. Yeah, I have three what I call exit effects on mine that I like to use, and this will be probably the last thing I do because we're out and there's another show now. But there are 3 effects I have that I use all the time. Exit effects, what I like to call exit effects. And one is the echo out, and this is what's called a post echo. So the echo, after, you can see here where my volume right there, what it does is it'll keep playing, and then once I bring that down, the echo will go on out that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release it, hit the echo, pull it out, and then you hear the echo. That's one exit effect. Hit it a little before the point there. That's one. The other one would be a backspin. Get rid of that echo there. And the last one would be a simple little break stop. Those are the 3. Those are my exit effects I always kind of go to. So, with that said, we are at the top of the hour. I thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are awesome. You join me each and every week. I love it. Love it hanging out with you guys. There is no show next week because it is Halloween Eve. No, Halloween Eve. Thanksgiving Eve. I'm a month off. Thanksgiving Eve, and I do have a gig because for those who know the bar and club scene, Thanksgiving Eve is actually the busiest night of the year. Actually, more people go out Thanksgiving Eve than go out New Year's Eve, and it's crazy. I'm actually booked early that night. I start at 8 p.m. that night. That's how kind of crazy it is. So there will be no show next week, but in 2 weeks there's going to be a show. And for those of you who saw my post earlier about the pre-show kind of craziness, John and I are trying to work out a way that you can come. We're going to let you see what I do here prior to the show, the hangout. So I kind of hope you guys are willing to come and hang out with me there if we get it. But it will be in 2 weeks on the 28th. So we'll see you guys back then. And since I won't see you, have an awesome holiday. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy yourselves. And as always, take time to click like, subscribe, share the video, all that kind of stuff. Take care of yourselves. And most importantly, this world's a crazy place. Take care of each other. All right? Good night, and God bless.